As is well documented, the molds that became the Beast Wars mutants were initially designed for the Animorphs Transformers toy line. Had that line not bombed, and those molds been sold as Animorphs, we would have gotten more of these beast-to-beast changes. Hobby Japan's Transformers Beast Wars Beast Generations book features concept art of a hornet that transforms into a poison dart frog, an ibex that turns into a Komodo dragon, and a vulture that becomes a piranha. From what's shown, you can vaguely see how each one transforms to an extent. For the full-sized image, check out TF Wiki's Animorphs page. And they just look so cool, and it sucks that we never got these, and I'm just stalling now, huh? The final Beast Wars mutant, Soundwave, was packaged in his bat mode. As was common for the time, this Soundwave is a separate bot from his G1 namesake. Rather, bats emit sound waves as a means to navigate and hunt their prey in the dark. Certain pictures showcased this toy with a primarily green colour scheme. Whether these were prototype shots or what was meant for the final product, they ultimately went with a brown that better suits both modes, though certain parts have a golden sheen to them. They kept the red eyes, silver paint on the teeth, toenails, and inside the ears, as well as those weird yellow radioactive looking markings. Call it a side effect of the mutation? Don't forget the chromed insignia on the chest. While the bat mode takes the most liberties, it's still recognizable as such. Etched fur, fanged face with giant nostrils, wings with finger bones, including thumbs, and wing membranes with molded veins. However, the ears, though long and pointed, sit lower than they should, while the tail is too long, with no membrane between it and the legs. Also, the wings aren't entirely connected, and don't bother looking from behind. I said don't look! As with all mutants, Soundwave has hidden robotic features. Against my better judgment, opening the chest reveals a mechanical-looking torso. Also, pushing a button at the back of the bat head opens the mouth, exposing a robot head with an expression of sheer agony. Letting go springs it back shut. I'd advise against using this gimmick too. That said, the concept of his former robot mode wearing the bat head as a helmet? Kinda cool, not gonna lie. The articulation consists of ball-jointed hips, a swivel above each knee, hinged knees, plus hinges and swivels in the ankles and tail. The wings have multiple hinges that would make them marginally posable in theory, but frankly I'm reluctant to move any joint on this toy because... well, I guess there's no avoiding it now. Mutant Soundwave is a sufferer of the ever-dreaded gold plastic syndrome. This problem dates as far back as 1988's Black Zarak, though I've reviewed GPS victims from multiple Transformers toy lines, some of which were unknown at the time. I'm not an expert on the science by any means, but from what I've read, a fair few figures back in the 90s and 2000s especially had a pigment mixed in with the plastic to give the toy a metallic and thus robotic appearance. However, over time, it turned out that doing so caused the plastic to deteriorate and ultimately crumble without warning. The term stems from the fact that gold plastic was the first and most frequent case of this, though a lot of toys with metallic swirls in the plastic, regardless of its colour, are potentially susceptible. Inversely, not all gold-coloured plastic has this issue. Luckily, GPS seems to be a thing of the past, with the most recent case being 2015's Unite Warriors Motormaster. For Soundwave, the most vulnerable parts are the bat wings and chest, which, I remind you, are on hinges, and wouldn't you know it, the joints on my copy are pretty tight. In hindsight, I take the green bat. For those concerned that this toy will break on me, don't worry. That already happened when plastic securing a hinge within the body broke off. Stuff like this is why I've been putting Soundwave and some other figures off for so long. With that said, let's crack on, shall we? Sorry, I couldn't resist. GPS aside, the transformation is the least dynamic of the mutants. Unlike Icebird and Poison Bite, who are creative with their use of parts, and Razorclaw, who practically turns inside out, Soundwave mostly consists of folding the chest up and closing some panels. Soundwave's second beast mode is an alligator, not a crocodile. For one, the alligator's head with its U-shaped nose forms the body of the bat, which a crocodile couldn't really accomplish with its narrower V-shaped snout. Plus, the bat's wing membranes result in webbed front feet, oversized as they are, webbed feet being something only alligators have. Beyond that, this brute is covered in sharp scale detailing from snout to tail, the latter of which is far better proportioned for this mode. I also like how the details of each creature are on opposite sides. Fierce red eyes with a molded slit pupil, and I guess they didn't drop the green entirely. Some paint on the teeth would have been nice though. I can understand the front toenails being unpainted, as it would look quite distracting in bat mode. The articulation in the bat's legs carry over for the gator's hind legs. The forelegs have ball-jointed shoulders, a bicep swivel, elbow hinge, and a wrist swivel. From the looks of it, he has a hinged jaw, but I don't think it can move because of the surrounding plastic, nor do I plan on finding out if it does. Why? Well, the head snapped in two as well, many years ago. Cause for the transformation, you actually have to force the gator head over the bat head, which is what locks it in place. It's hard to make out, but I managed to superglue it back together, and I'm leaving it be. A lot of you are probably expecting me to rate Soundwave really low because of the gold plastic syndrome. Granted, it makes him hard to recommend, especially since it more than likely plays a part in the toy's post-sale rarity. But that still wouldn't be fair, as the inherent design is okay. The bat mode's passable, if a bit rough, the transformation is serviceable but not as interesting as his kin, and the gator's mostly fine save for the swollen front feet. Overall, I give Soundwave a bronze, but with a GPS tag. What really bites is that, as far as we know, this was the only mutant for which a recolor was planned. Meet Leatherhide from the cancelled Halloween HorrorCon pack for 2003's Universe line. It's ugly, in my opinion. Halloween themed or not, I just don't think the deco suits the mold. But hey, I'll take longevity over fitting and or attractive colour schemes any day. TLDR, buy this toy at your own risk. Thanks for joining me on this adventure, reviewing some of the most criminally overlooked Transformers characters ever. Hopefully the Beast Wars mutants will get their due. Someday.